Hello and welcome to We're Done Pretending. I'm Ben, a coach working with business owners who want more joy in their life that comes from knowing who they are, what they want, and how they're going to go out there and get it. Each episode, I'm joined on the sofa by a business owner who is willing to put down the mask and share the version of the story that's not the shiny LinkedIn profile. So I hope that by hearing these stories, you might feel a little less alone in something that you're going through, or you might be inspired to do something different that's going to bring a little more joy into your life. Hey, I've got that out quite well. I'm joined on the sofa today by Rebecca.
Hello.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Great to be here.
I've noticed a slight mockery in that sentence.
A little bit of nerves, but it'll be fine. We'll get going.
It's going to be all right.
It is.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Our listeners want us, warts and all, as
Absolutely.
humans. And that's all we need to do is have a chat like that.
Yes.
So I always start somewhere a little unexpected.
Yeah.
Tell me your favourite day of the week.
Ooh, you've asked this before
Uh-huh.
in my preparation. Probably, is it a Friday or a Saturday? Don't know. Friday or a Saturday. I like a Friday night. Just because it's the end of the week, you kind of just relax, chill out, and you've got the weekend to look forward to. And I just like a Saturday because it's just quite a relaxed day. You do some walking with the dog, clean the house, and then have a nice Saturday evening. So, yeah, nothing mega exciting, but probably a Friday or Saturday.
Talk us through the perfect Friday night then.
Probably. Me and my husband like to have a kitchen party. So, sounds like it's a big party. It's not. It's me and my husband. There's not that much partying even. But there you go.
You like to go in the kitchen.
Yeah. He likes cooking. I don't cook. I'm the person that chops and cleans up after him, which is handy. We're a team in that. So he'll probably make a meal while I talk to him and drink wine and chop and tidy, with some music playing. And then we usually eat the meal quite late because we probably have a few drinks and go, we'll have it a bit later. And then we'll have our meal. That's probably my favourite, although I like going out as well.
That sounds really nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
Yeah.
We spend a lot of time in our local pub. It's just far too handy. It's like 5 minutes from the house. So I like going there as well. We know everyone in there. It's probably my favourite, I think.
I need to know, because if anyone mentions music, I have to follow up
I
on
knew
that.
you were going to do that.
I need to know what's on the playlist on a Friday night in the kitchen.
To be honest, a random mix, I would say. So a bit of Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
Sometimes a bit of Carpenters thrown
My
in, a bit
wife
of
likes
Oasis.
the Carpenters. I cannot stand the
A
Carpenters.
bit of Taylor Swift, anything really. I'm not, I mean, I love my music. I've got a playlist. I've got my like songs, but I'm not mad into music, as in choosing favourites or anything. My husband's a bit fussier than me. I'm a bit like anything goes, not really into rock. Try to be a bit cool. My daughter, she's 18, so there's some random stuff in there of hers. Me trying to keep up to date, but fail really. But yeah.
Have you got a shared... Do you use Spotify?
Yeah, we have. We've
Is
got
it
a
shared
fan.
with your
Yeah,
daughter?
we've got a fan band playlist.
My listening age was 18 and I thought, I'm so cool.
Oh, I need to find out.
Then I realised that the most played album was the K-pop Demon Hunters thing, and that it was not my listening that was driving the age of the listening.
How do you find out your age?
It's on the, the Spotify Wrapped thing, the stats that come out at the end of the year.
Oh,
Yeah, it
I'm
gives
going to
you
have a
your
look.
listening age. If you're listening to the Carpenters, though, you're not in the realms
no,
of the 18.
I'm not really, to be fair. No, probably not. Probably not.
Oh,
I'll have to have a look.
you will.
Yeah, we've got a fan band playlist.
Fan band.
You can add anything, but then it might get deleted if my husband doesn't like it, if I'm being honest.
Oh, so this is edited.
This is an edited playlist, yeah. Sometimes, if you can be bothered.
That would
Otherwise it
cause
just
quite
skips.
serious discussions in our house, I think.
To be honest, our daughter, she does spend time with us, but she doesn't spend much time in the kitchen when we're having a party with a playlist. So it's more our playlist
Is
probably
you?
than a fan band playlist. She'd probably play her own playlist. But yeah.
Sounds gorgeous.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have Friday nights always been like that?
Probably. I think obviously when your daughter's younger, they're not as stress free as they are now. But yeah, we'd always, once we'd put Chloe to bed, we would do something. We've been quite good at that, I think, throughout our marriage since having children. We've been lucky. My mum literally used to beg us to have Chloe, and if she didn't have her at least once a week, she'd be really upset with us. So we were very lucky. We always made sure we had time for us, really. And we like being with friends, but we're kind of, over years, you get used to just being with each other a bit more. Things just get older. You don't party as much, do you, with other people? But
no,
yeah, COVID probably taught us a lot of that. We had met far too many kitchen parties.
Yeah, COVID was the era of kitchen discos.
Yeah,
wasn't
it was. Drank far too much wine, but yeah, we quite like. Well, I like spending time with him. I don't know what he'd say. He probably would.
We can do the companion episode.
Yeah.
Get
No,
the
you
other half of the
definitely don't
story.
want to do that.
She won't leave me alone. I just want to cook in peace. She thinks she can chop vegetables. She always gets it wrong.
Probably right. Yeah,
No, I'm sure.
he won't let me cook very often. I'm not very patient with cooking.
Me and
I
Natalie
don't
like
like
that,
following recipes. I'm not, for a HR person, I'm not much of a rule follower. Whereas my husband's
There's a bit of
quite
rebel in you.
structured. Yeah, there probably is. Yeah, I just wing it in. I'm like, don't need to measure it, and he's like, you haven't measured it. That's why it tastes horrible at the end.
And that's why
then
you're a good team.
Well, maybe. Yeah, we are. To be fair, we are.
Yeah. I love that. Absolutely beautiful. Friday nights. So I'm picking up on an accent that isn't Cumbrian.
Yes, that's right.
So there's got to be a story there. I don't think you've lived here all your life and had your kitchens in Cumbria.
No, haven't. I was born in Essex, so I'm an Essex girl, I think, but I didn't live there for long. We moved to Bridgenorth in Shropshire when I was 10, on my 10th birthday, actually. That's how I remember it. And then moved to Wolverhampton. So it's a Midlands accent, which comes out a lot more when I go home or go back to Wolverhampton, which I don't do as much as I used to. And then my mum's originally from Carlisle.
Right.
So my mum and dad met. He was building a road or something. He was a quantity surveyor originally. So she moved back to Carlisle. They got divorced. She moved back to Carlisle. And then I think it was 2000, I was living in Wolverhampton and working in Birmingham and just wasn't really enjoying it. It took you like 2 hours to go 10 miles to work. So mum moved and I thought, I'll just go to Carlisle. I'd only been once. Which I did, gave up a job, got a job in Carlisle, moved up, bought my first house. Couldn't believe it the first night I went out because I was probably, how old would I have been? About 26-ish. There was like one nightclub. I was like, what? What have I done? Remember me and my sister in that nightclub going, what? And they don't play music like we're used to.
Was it Mood at the time?
It was before that. It was Buskers.
Buskers. Okay, yeah. I'm with you.
So I think I lasted about 4 years. Met my husband on a night out in Mood, actually.
Up here?
Yeah, he's from Gretna, so he's Scottish, sort of.
And a night out in Mood?
Yeah, on a night out in Mood.
Good detail.
I know. I went up to him. The air conditioning was broken. I'll just tell this story because he would want me to be honest. The air conditioning was broken. I think it was in July or August. He'd know the date. He's good with dates. I'm not. And it was boiling. And I can't remember because I was a little bit pissed. Oh, I'm allowed to swear.
You're allowed to swear. I don't think pissed counts either. We can swear.
Oh, yeah, it'll get worse then.
I'll remember to hit the explicit
I went up
content.
and went, it's hot in here, innit? And
That
was my chat-up line. And the rest is history. So there you go. But yeah, so, and then we were together. He got a job. He was looking for his job. He'd become a solicitor, but then moved into teaching. That's a whole nother story. So he then got a job in Manchester. I was working at Cars in Carlisle, biscuit factory, and there was an opportunity for a promotion to go to Liverpool. So we moved to Altrincham in Cheshire. And then we had Chloe, got married, had Chloe, and then thought when Chloe was 2.5, in fact, we met a couple from Cumbria in Leeds, bizarrely, our friends from Cumbria. And they were talking about their life, about the fact that they sit down and have dinner as a family at 5:30. And me and Derek were like, what? Like, we're stuck on the M60. And then he just announced, while we were having this conversation about how their life seemed better than ours, that he'd
Your
seen a
husband
job.
did?
Yeah, my husband went, well, I've seen a job in Cumbria. I was like, well, you didn't tell me. Have you been looking for jobs? So, yeah, he'd seen a job in Cumbria at West Lakes Academy. He got the job. And then I went and handed my notice in at Liverpool, and they said, no, don't go. You can move to Cumbria and you can kind of be split across the Carlisle factory and the Liverpool factory. So we moved. That's how we've ended up in near Spatria, really, because his job was out at Egremont and I was going to be at Carlisle. So that was 15, 16 years ago, I think. So, yeah.
There's so much.
There was a long
in
story there.
Well, there's so much to pick up on.
Well, probably.
First of all, I'm just fascinated by how much our movements have mirrored each other, because I was
Really?
born in Wolverhampton.
Oh, yes, I knew that.
Obviously grew up in Carlisle.
Yeah.
Then lived down the road from Altrincham
Oh, right. There you go.
when we lived in Manchester.
Ah,
And then back to Cumbria.
there you go. Wow.
So we've not been far away from
No,
each
we
other.
haven't,
Maybe
have
not
we?
quite at the same times.
No, maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're all lovely places.
They are.
Very different.
Very different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When we first moved, I can remember the first night in our house, because I'm a townie, obviously, with my where I've lived. My husband, obviously, less so, coming from Gretna. But we moved into the house and we'd unpacked all day and we put Chloe to bed. And he said, I might go and just check out the pub. Off he went. He didn't come home till 2 a.m. Anyway, I can remember I was sat there and I literally felt like I was living in the middle of nowhere. It was so dark. And I was like, I don't know where he is. Like, I don't really know I roughly know where the pub is, but I can't leave anyway because Chloe's in bed. He was ignoring my phone calls. We had a bit of a heated discussion when he got home. But yeah, he came home at 2 a.m. with a half a pint in his hand and just said, well, I'm going to effing love it here. Which I threw a nappy at his head, to be honest. I was so mad. But yeah, the peace and the quiet and the silence, even though when I say this to people, they're like, you don't live in that silent a place. You could live in a much quieter place for Cumbria. Freaked me out. And I still do like a good rumble of a motorway or a
do you?
bar, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, doesn't bother me. I don't really like the tweeting of birds. I don't. Now I am letting out my weird, real, authentic self.
No, yeah. I don't. It's not
Peeping
weird.
or birds tweeting. Don't like either. So these people that lie there going, oh, I listen to the lovely birds. I'm like, shut the birds up. Yeah, there you go. I've adjusted.
So how did you feel? How old was your daughter then on
Two and a
that
half.
night?
2.5.
So you've got a 2.5-year-old.
Yeah.
Describe that evening from your perspective. What were you doing?
I don't know, probably unpacking boxes. I can't actually remember. All the memories of that evening have been overtaken by the pub memory, if I'm being honest. But yeah, I was looking forward to it. It did feel like I'd moved somewhere, which sounds daft now, I've got used to it, but it felt extremely remote. So I was very like, oh, am I going to like it here? And did I like it at first? I don't know. I didn't not like it, but I wasn't like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. We've moved here and the world's wonderful. I did like our life better. Our life was definitely better because we weren't spending forever on the M60. For the first 2 years, I was spending 2 nights away at Liverpool,
right,
which wasn't great, to be honest. It was all right, but it's hard when you've got a small child. But yeah, I love it now. I wouldn't go anywhere else. It's the best place to bring up a child. And Chloe, actually, I took her, we went to Birmingham last year or year before, and I have raised a country bumpkin because she hated it. She was like, Mum, it feels dangerous. Mum, there's so many people. I was like, oh God, how have I raised a country bumpkin? And I don't think she'll, a lot of young people around here, they do move away, don't they? I don't think she will. She doesn't like it. She's quite happy around here. She much prefers it now she can drive. But yeah. Don't know what your question was even.
Do you know, I think there's an important lesson in there, or an important reflection about change, because you were bold enough to make the change happen.
Yes.
But it doesn't feel all roses and bows
Okay.
straight away,
Yeah.
does it?
No, it probably wasn't.
And it can take a long time for
Yes.
things to kind of settle in.
Yeah. I think that's right.
I know my wife will have felt the same,
Yeah.
having moved from Manchester and having lived in sort of like near Leeds in city environments all of her life.
Yes. Yeah.
To then move to rural Cumbria.
Yeah, it's a change.
It's a big change.
Yeah. I didn't feel a change as much when I moved to Carlisle. Well, I did, because there was no nightclubs, ultimately. That was I was a party animal at that time in my life. And made some great friends. They're my best friends now. So it was nice to move back for them, and they'd had kids as well. And but yeah, life is never all roses, is it? Let's be honest.
No.
Yeah.
That's the whole joy thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Got to find the meaning. And
I think me
fun
and my husband would say probably if we'd stayed in Manchester, we would have probably ended up divorced, probably, because we didn't have much of a life with each other. It was just all about. We did, because my mum was great, but it was all about I'll do the nursery drop off, you do the pick up, the stress of, are we going to get to work on time? He was stuck on the M61 way. I was going to Liverpool. He was going into Manchester. When I look back, it was a pretty stressful existence, if I'm being honest. But yeah, it was fine. But yeah, we weren't living our best life, probably.
How did that feel? How does that show up?
I don't know whether it has showed up wherever we are, because I think having a child is quite a shock to your marriage, isn't it, to be honest?
Yeah.
And I don't know that you realise it for a while, but we found it hard, I think, adjusting. We loved her. Do you know what I mean? It's not anything about that, but the
fellow
adjustment.
parent on the sofa.
Yeah.
I know.
And we both had quite big jobs, would you call it that? I don't know what you call it, but so it was hard. It was difficult. And I think then that affects your relationship, doesn't it? Because you're not really enjoying, you're just in this circle of the hamster wheel, as I call it, of doing what you're doing. So moving to Cumbria was to change our life. It wasn't because we were going to get divorced. Well, it would be a surprise to him. He's going to listen to this and think, what? We weren't getting divorced, but we probably weren't getting on as well as we could. And we'd kind of lost a bit of a spark between each other where we would have a kitchen party and stuff like that. So, yeah, it was a great move.
Yeah. Your energy just becomes so focused on the hamster wheel
it does.
and kind of surviving the logistics and just getting from A to B and B to A and C.
I once forgot to drop Chloe at nursery, but when I say that, I'd driven an hour and a half past nursery. Like, this wasn't just forget. This was like, forget. And I was talking to my boss on the phone. I can remember it like yesterday. And luckily, she was just at the age where she could say things. So she just went from the back, hello. I was nearly at work. And I was like, fuck, down the phone to my boss, who went, oh, are you all right? He thought I crashed the car. I was like, yeah, I'm fine. And then I thought, how am I going to tell him I'm not going to be at the meeting when he knows I'm 5 minutes away? So I admitted it. I was like, I forgot to drop Chloe at nursery. He was like, are you joking? I was like, no, she's in the back of the car. I'm glad she said hello because I don't know what. So yeah, I had to go back, take her to nursery and go all the way back again. Quite embarrassing and very me. I'm a bit scatty, to be honest, but or can be. So yeah. I suppose it also shows what life was like, really, which was full on to this point where you've forgotten your daughter's in the back of the car.
No, I'm with you.
I once also forgot the cat at the vet's as well, but, so I'm a bit like that. But it's a bit more important when it's your daughter. It's also embarrassing walking back into a vet's after you left 10 minutes ago and going, oh, just get the cat.
Take the cat with me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even Alistair, who's sat behind the desk, is laughing.
This is probably the most random Reflective Rebels podcast. But yeah.
That's the joy, though, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
We've all lived a different, totally unique life.
Yes, absolutely.
But I think we can all see bits of ourselves in each other's stories. And there's bits that resonate because they're the same or because they're different.
Yeah, absolutely.
My morning this morning, our kids were supposed to go into work with Natalie.
Right,
she works at school, but they weren't up in time. So they were late. So then I had to drive them up to school. So then I was late. And then I was so busy trying to rehearse my intro for the podcast that I drove, a bit like you, I drove to the wrong place.
I get lost a lot.
Because I was on complete autopilot.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
You didn't forget your child, though.
No,
I know you're making me feel
I got
better,
the kids to school. They're not sat down there waiting to be taken later.
I thought that. What if I'd left her in the car park? But I didn't. I'm sure I'd have noticed by then. Anyway, let's move off this subject.
Okay, let's move on.
Oh dear.
So let's pick up the thread then. Later in life in Cumbria, you've settled a bit.
Yeah, settled. Gave up the job, resigned from the job. Looked for a job in Carlisle because obviously staying away 2 nights a week wasn't really working, and got a job in Cumbria at a much smaller company. I'd always worked in bigger organisations, and was there till about 2 years ago, so about 13 years. Did HR, I've done HR all my life, but moved more into an operational role. Loved the operational role, and then became MD. So had a career, did that as a career until 2 years ago when I set up on my own, which we'll come on to, I'm sure. COVID, I didn't really know many people in the village because Chloe was younger. My husband did go to the pub quite a lot. No, it's fine. She'd got a bit older, so I started going to the pub, getting to know more people. But it's not really till COVID that I got to know people in the village and get to really know everyone, I suppose, which was nice. COVID brought that, didn't it? Everybody.
That community.
Yeah, we organised quite a few street parties. We were the organisers of that, or my daughter was actually. Got to know everybody in the village. Just enjoyed living in Cumbria, really. But always been in quite a stressful job until 2 years ago when I set up on my own, and that has its own stresses, obviously.
Yeah. We'll come back to that then. But
Yeah.
what you've called it, I think, a big job, and you've called it a successful job. This sort of career thread.
Yes.
Where did that drive come from? You know, when you were at school, what did you want to be? What was your hopes?
Yeah. It came from my dad, which we can talk about, but I am driven. I don't quite understand. I know the drive probably comes from my dad, but I don't ever understand how I end up where I end up. It just sort of happens, and it must be the drive, obviously. I know that. I'm not stupid, but I wanted to work with animals. My husband's going to laugh when he listens to this because I do love all animals, and he's seen an autobiography I wrote when I was 10, and the opening line is, "I'm Rebecca, I love all animals." And he quotes it back at me, but I do, apart from birds. I'm not so keen on birds, but I won't want anything to happen to a bird, but I don't like them. So I always thought, well, I'll work with animals, but I was quite good at languages, so I ended up going to university doing a language degree. I can remember having a conversation with my dad when I finished that, and he said, well, what are you going to do now? I was like, I don't know, I'd quite like to work in a pet shop. I did have a Saturday job in a pet shop as well, but he was like, over my dead body, no daughter of mine's working in a pet shop. That's ridiculous. You've got a degree. You need to build a career. And to be honest, it pissed me off. I was like, well, I don't really want to. But he was right. I look back and he was right. I wouldn't have been that happy working in a pet shop for my life, probably. So I'd done some work in HR departments, and he said, right, listen, there's HR directors that work for me that earn however much, and it would be a great career, and you did well in your summer jobs in HR departments. Why don't you do that? And that's what I did. So, and I did a master's actually in HR because I had no HR qualifications. So I saved up from my Saturday jobs, and Dad helped a bit and stuff. Did my master's, which was a bit stupid because I had no HR experience. When I look back, I would have learned a lot more from that master's if I had some real HR experience. But I did learn from it. And then I got my first job in a train factory in Birmingham. They manufacture trains. I was very excited because it was 98% male, and I was going to be running the graduate programme. And at that point, I was single. So it was good. So it was a 6-month contract to introduce this suggestion scheme, ultimately. People got a £1 voucher, Argos voucher, for putting in a suggestion. Off I went to do this. I can remember getting the job offer, and it was way more money than I ever thought I'd get. It was like, what? I couldn't believe, and more money than any of my friends. It wasn't ridiculous, but do you know what I mean? And yeah, I got torn to pieces, to be honest, in that job, because I had to, in my second week, like at the age of, what would it be, 22, 3, first proper job, I had to present every half an hour to 50 train manufacturing type guys off the shop floor about the launch of Reaction, where they'd get a £1 Argos voucher. And to be honest, I've never been frightened of presenting ever since, because it can never be, ever. Nobody's presentation can be as bad as that. It was bad. So yeah, at the end of that, they then said, oh, you've done really well. Do you want to be a HR advisor? You needed 8 years experience. I was like, well, I haven't got the experience. No, we're going to give you a go. And it just kind of happened like that.
Tell us, can you just take me back to standing in that room? Describe the scene, or have you shut it too far away?
I've probably shut it out, but the scream was little old me who hadn't really done any... I'd done them as part of university and my masters, but yeah, there was rows of chairs and they'd come in. I had to try to get them to sit down and behave, which was quite hard because they were all grown hairy-ass men, if I'm being honest. And I got quite strict with them, to be fair. So I did manage to get them to be quiet. And obviously I was new and young, probably. Not that I was anything to look at, but they probably thought she's more interesting than our boss. And then I had to present, but trying to present to get them to buy into a £1 Argos voucher, it was just, I just got heckled to death. And I kept saying, look, I'm not saying you can only put one in. You can put 20 suggestions in a month and you'll have 20 Argos vouchers. I look back and just cringe how I was trying to deal with it. But to be fair, Creaction was quite a success. They did go with it. But yeah, I was heckled to death.
Where did the metal come from to stay and stand in front of them and do it at that age?
I think I was too scared to leave. My dad would have killed me, to be fair. It's probably that. I don't know. I have got something in me that will fight that. I'll make myself do things that I don't feel comfortable with, such as your podcast. So I had to get that in there. So yeah, probably that. I've got a bit of balls. I mean, later in that job, I had a bit of again, it was very early on. The ops director, I remember him like yesterday, and everyone was terrified of him. Everyone, the HR team would talk about him like Ian's coming, and he rang me and had to go at me about these Creaction sessions because he was like, do you know how much they've cost production? So I was like, no, but I got told to do them by the HR director. Well, they've cost me a fortune. And he was really shouting me, he was effing and blinded. And I just, out of panic, just went fuck off and put the phone down. Like literally, that's what happened. And the whole HR team, who were much older than me and much more experienced, it went silent. And I felt like crying. I can remember thinking, oh, I don't know what to do. And I was like, there was a guy called Gary who was like the most experienced HR guy, and he was quite a laugh as well. So I was like, Gary, what have I done? What am I going to do? And he was like, I can't help you out. I'm terrified of him. You've just told him to F off. So anyway, again, I just thought, I'm going to have to ring and apologise. So I rang him and apologised. And I actually said, could I come and see you to apologise? I don't know why I said that, because I was terrified. And to be honest, from there, I won him over. He said, there's nobody stood up to me like you. You've obviously got something about you. But I didn't do it with any foresight to try and win him over. It happened. So I don't know if that shows... shows him, yeah. I don't know, shows I've got balls, I suppose, but also that I don't think things through. Things can come out of my mouth that I'm not meant to. I've learned to do that better in HR, obviously. You have to.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But maybe it's part of why you've been successful as well.
Probably. Yeah. There's something in me that drives me for success. But I don't see myself that I'm like that. That's weird. I don't know.
So you've talked about hairy ass men and balls.
Sorry. Yeah.
But there is something that makes me want to explore the gender
Right,
thing a
okay.
bit more,
Okay.
and whether that played a part in it or
I don't think it did.
being a woman
to be
in a
hon-
man's world, sort of.
Yeah, I don't think that. I never saw it like that. I don't think that. Yeah, I think I can hold myself up to any man, to be quite honest, in terms of whatever. And I've always thought that it doesn't really play a part. I suppose it could have been a bunch of hairy arse women and it would have been the same. But I suppose at that age, if I take me back to that age as a young woman in the workplace in your first job, there were hairy arse men. Do you know what I mean? And they didn't mind heckling at all. But I don't think there's anything in there around gender, probably.
I'm going to take a moment to pause just to say that the podcast is funded and sponsored effectively by Reflective Rebels and my coaching work with business owners in one-to-one sessions and gatherings that just bring a bit of human contact to the world. The single biggest thing you can do to support the podcast is to hit subscribe right now, or if you can spare an extra 15 seconds to leave me a review. And for a small independent podcast like this one, that genuinely means the world to me. If you want to get a little more involved, you can sign up to the newsletter to hear about the podcast before anyone else, to get tips, tricks, ideas and thoughts from me on how to live a more joyful life by going to www.reflectiverebels.co.uk/newsletter. I'm laughing because I said www. Oh, God, I feel about 93. Right, we'll forget that ever happened and try and... Oh, no. See?
I thought you were doing so well.
I
if
was
you hadn't
until I
laughed
said
at the end.
www.
Well,
Cringe. Back to your story.
yes. Okay.
So you mentioned setting up on your own, and we need to talk about that because a big
Yes.
part of this series is for people who've had the balls, to use your words, to go for something, whatever that is, whether they've succeeded, failed, or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in these stories where we've decided, do you know what? Actually, I'm going to have a go.
Yeah.
So tell us about how that came about. And
So that wasn't planned, to be honest. So I had done this job. I was MD of the company. And when I look back, I really wasn't very well. I was working so many hours. I mean, I can remember I used to encourage my husband to go to the pub because he'd be shouting at me saying, you can't do any more work. So I wasn't in a I was in a very bad place mentally. I was off ill from work, which I'd never done ever. And I kind of I don't think I was in a place to decide what I wanted to do. But I knew I couldn't keep doing what I was doing. So I remember ringing my dad, bless him, and saying, I just didn't want to get another job. I just thought, I don't want another job. I don't want to be on this hamster wheel of 9 to 5 or whatever it's meant to be. The thought of working for somebody else, I just don't want it. I was turning 50 that year, so it might have been a midlife crisis as well. I don't know. But yeah, I ran my dad in the January. I'd been speaking to him throughout the time when I wasn't well and stuff. And he said, Bex, you know what? You need to paddle your own canoe. He said, you need to set up on your own. You'll be brilliant. You can do it. You know, I was like, I don't know if I can, you know, I'm not salesy. How will I get clients? And he was like, for goodness sake, you need to just do it. My dad was very matter of fact about things, probably where I get that from as well. And so I thought, I can remember saying to my husband, should I just do it? But how, you know, my whole life has been, I'm very much, I know I can depend on my husband and I know he's there, but I make my own way in life. That probably comes back to my mum and dad's divorce, and we can go into that if you want. But anyway, I'm very much, I don't want to depend on somebody. I will depend in other ways, but financially I like to have my own. I mean, we share all our money, we have a joint account, we're not into all of that. But so I was like, gosh, it almost felt like my whole identity was going to go. I was like, my whole life's been about my career. My career's now at this crossroads where I know I can't really keep doing what I'm doing. It's not healthy. Shall I? And I was like, well, you may as well give it a go, and I'll support you, and you will be fine. And we hadn't saved up any money to do this or anything. We didn't have any plan. So I just said, right, let's think of a name then. He's good at that. I'm not very creative.
Action.
Yeah. Creativity in action. That's something. So we went through names, and then I started getting a little bit excited about it and thought, okay, I'll give it 3 months. I'll do that, change my life, set up on my own. I'll give it 3 months, but I'll probably end up getting a job. And I know you should say that you should have belief that it's all going to be wonderful, but I didn't. At that point, I was probably the least confident I've ever been. I was on anxiety pills, sleeping pills, having counselling. I was in a bad place, really. So it wasn't the best time probably to set up a business. But I also felt, well, if I don't do it now, I never will. I'm going to be 50. I kept saying that. I'm going to be 50. If I don't do it now, I never will. Did it and love it. It wasn't easy by any means, and it's still not that easy. Well, not easy. But I do love it. It's the best thing I've ever done. Love it. It's completely made my life. My life is totally different because of it. In terms of my friends, I see much more of them. I have more time in my life to do the things I want to do. And it's been so much more successful than I ever thought it would be, which is lovely as well. So, yeah. Is that enough of that detail?
I've got follow-up questions.
I thought you would.
I'm interested in a few things. First of all, I'm interested in your sense of identity, which you mentioned.
Okay.
And who you are.
Yes.
So who was the person that was working all of those hours, and what was going on? What was the fear,
at the time,
motivation?
I think at the time I couldn't. I say it to other business owners, actually, you can't see the wood for the trees, can you, when you're in it? You can't. And it was the drive to be successful. The business had grown significantly. It was very successful. I think it was that drive to be successful and make it successful and be as good as it could be and I could be, I think. If I look back now, I get that it wasn't healthy and probably lots of it could have waited, and but by that time I probably wasn't in the place where you could step back and think, actually, if you work till 11 o'clock tonight and send your husband to the pub when you started at 6 o'clock this morning, it's not going to make any difference, really. Do you know what I mean? I can see that now. But when you're in it, it's quite hard to see, I think. I think I've learned that I would always see that now. I'm very conscious. I know you and I have talked as part of a coaching session. One of my fears about precision is that I'll build something that sends me back into that cycle, because I can be a bit of a workaholic, to be honest. So it goes against my natural. I have to not force myself, that's wrong, but I'm very mindful now of my work-life balance, and I never was before, because I've seen now. And I a lot of what I struggled with was, well, I've done all this, I've given up a lot in terms of family time, friends, etc., to get here, and what was the point? So I'm never going to do that again. And to be fair, I can remember saying to Chloe, we were out after I'd set up Precision. It was in the day, we were just having some fun. I can't even remember what we're doing. And I said something like, oh, we should have done this sooner, like when you were smaller, could have picked you up from school more, blah, blah, blah. And she said, oh, God, Mum, don't be daft. I said, what do you mean? She's quite matter of fact. She went, well, I wouldn't be who I am, would I? You'd done that. And I was like, okay. She went, it's taught me to work hard. So I thought, okay, you've made me feel better. You've put that little demon just in my bucket. So I think that I still don't quite understand, and maybe I need more counselling, I don't know, where that drive and why that is. I think part of it, when I did have my counselling, is to do with my mum and dad went through a really difficult, horrible divorce. My mum didn't work, and it all became about money and settlements, and horrible. Went on for years. And I when I went through counselling, the counsellor kind of made me see very uncomfortably that that's probably where some of it comes from.
Yeah.
And it is probably.
It shapes.
It
does shape
in
us.
a good way.
Yeah.
And
But like Chloe said,
yeah.
it's made you who you are.
Yeah. And to be honest, we talk about having balls. My mum is 4'6", and I tell you what, she's not terrifying, but you will not mess with my mother. Do you know what I mean? My husband says that. He's like, I don't. And they're like, little. He's 6'1", she's 4'6". It's like, no, you do what Audrey says. So it comes from there as well. And I think my dad as well, he was an entrepreneur. He worked and then up to CEO, etc., and then went on his own. And so it's all the mix of who you are, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it is. I wonder for the listener, if you could go back now and speak to the you that was sending your husband to the pub and working, answering those emails or whatever you were doing till 11.
Yes.
Is there anything you could say? What would you want to say?
Gosh, I don't know. I think it's you forget, and actually it's you, Ben, I have to say, that's taught me this. You forget to think about the good things in your life when you're in that hamster wheel, and you forget to stop and reflect. Reflective rebels. I'm not pushing Ben here, but to be fair, you have taught me. I can remember when I first met you thinking, Joy, like, what's this man on about? He's not like my kind of man. That is what I thought, to be honest. And then obviously I got to know you better, heard more about why and whatever. And now I talk about you a lot because I often reflect on, like, what was today like, or what joy have you got in your life? That's what I think. Right? Think about the joy. How can you make more joy? That's been a complete change for me. And I think the other thing is once I realise something, I sort of I'm quite good at forcing myself to learn these things. Yeah. Yeah. That, the joy thing and the fuck it bucket, am I allowed to talk about that?
Talk about the fuck it bucket.
I think sometimes things have to go in a fuck it bucket. So we can overthink, can't we? So I have a mechanism. I now do it in my head, but it was my sister. She bought me, when I was going through all that, she bought me a fuck it bucket, an actual bucket where you write down what's worrying you, you throw it in the bucket. I didn't actually ever write it down, to be fair, but just the analogy of it, if you can't change it and it isn't going to make any difference worrying about it, then it has to go in that bucket. But it's not as easy as that, is it? But I'm quite good at that. To be fair, becoming ill, I'm quite a laid back, don't give a fuck character, if I'm being honest. I lost it at that point, which must have been very strange for everybody who knows me. I think it was. I just cried a lot. When I say a lot, like ridiculously a lot. So it was like I became this person that nobody knew, because I used to be the most, and I'm back to it, to be fair. I'm back to my whole, it's in the fuck it bucket and, let's just get on with it. But I wasn't. So I think stepping back and thinking, is this what I want for my life? If I'd done that earlier, it would have been better probably. But then I've learned a lot by what I went through. So you can't also have regrets. You've got to kind of turn it into... Because at one point, I was like, I've been stupid. I felt really stupid. Yeah, I kept focusing on what I missed out with Chloe and all the things that were shit about it. It's just not healthy, is it? It's not going to help. You can't turn back time. Do you know what I mean? So you've got to focus on a bit. When she said that, I thought, well, actually, I do need to focus on that. She's got that drive. She's doing a beauty course, bless her, and I heard her telling her boyfriend the other day, you need to get a proper job. He works in a cheese factory, because I'm going to have a chain of beauty salons and I want you to do more with your life, please. And I thought, well, there you go. That's belief. So, yeah, all of those things that she's seen, and maybe the time that I gave up where I didn't spend as much time with her, it all adds to something, doesn't it? You can't just keep reflecting on the bad. But definitely taking a bit of time to stop. If I'd taken some time to slow down that hamster wheel I was in that I couldn't see I was in because it was like blurring, then that would have been good. So perhaps the advice would be, do try and take a little time to reflect. Are those emails that you're doing till 11 o'clock at night going to make any real difference? Or are you just doing them because you're in the habit or whatever of doing them?
So I want to pick up on as well, because you've mentioned that it's been more successful than you could ever imagine, which is amazing. But you did say it's been hard too, and we wouldn't be being fair to the weird and pretending stuff if we only do the shiny. It's been amazing. So I'd love to know the bits that have been hard, that have been a struggle.
To be fair, the beginning. So on that, I set up on the 4th of February. I think I decided on the 29th of January. So do you know what I mean? There wasn't a big plan, which is fine with me because I'm not a big planner. I'm not a big processy, follow recipe type person. But I can remember sitting there on the 4th with my book, and I got up to sit there at 8:30 because that's what you do, isn't it? I was like, what am I going to do? And I thought, I don't really know many people in the business world. I'm terrified of going out there, if I'm being honest. So I'll make a flyer. I can remember it like yesterday. And I spent most of the day thinking, what are my services? What's the flyer going to say? I tried Canva. Couldn't do it. I thought, okay, that was an all right day. A bit boring, but it was an all right day. And then got up the next day and thought, oh, God. Then I thought, hang on a minute, what are you doing? Right, you're going to have to go out there. And when I say I was terrified, like I wouldn't have my photo taken prior to setting up Precision HR. I never went networking anywhere. So I come across as this confident, outgoing person that just can do it and it's easy or whatever. Maybe I don't. And I got my pen and thought, right, I need to write down in purple the things that potentially are going to win me clients. And they're the things I've got to do first, even though I don't want to. I still do it. I still do my purple pen. Anything in purple has to be done because it's going to make me money or bring a client or whatever. And so then I started researching networking events and just working out. And I can remember I was still having the counselling, speaking to my counsellor about it. I was like, what if no one speaks to me? And I even had this whole technique of, if nobody speaks to me, the counsellor helped me. She was like, you're going to go to the toilet, you're going to calm yourself down, you're going to just think of these, I think she gave me 4, I can't even remember, the 4 questions you might go back out and ask. And you're going to go back and just say it to somebody. So I even had to it was that hard that I had to have counselling to make me do it. I
am with you.
Right, so
I have hid in the toilets at networking events.
Yeah.
And like you say, people don't believe that of me.
No,
because they might see me presenting as smiley and confident, but inside I could be absolutely crumbling.
Yeah. So that was, and I'm really proud of what I did because now, I mean, people will say I'm like the network, I'm at every network, and I do a lot of it. And actually, do I love it? I wouldn't say I love it, maybe, but I always feel good after doing it, and I quite enjoy it. And I know everybody now, to be fair, so it's quite good having just a crack with everyone. It gets you out your own space. You're meeting new people, but that was particularly hard, making myself do that, being out there, I used to sit with trying to think of a LinkedIn post. It used to take me hours. I had it blocked out in my diary, half an hour every morning I was going to do a LinkedIn post. I'd still be working on it 2 hours later. Then I'd put it off the list, and then I'd post it and think about it. It'd take me all day. And I thought, right, you can't keep doing this because this is ridiculous. Like, you're going to have to just go for it. And in my words, I thought you're going to have to be a LinkedIn knob, to be honest. I can remember thinking you're going to have to be one of those people that you look at and think she's a bit of a knob because you need to be out there. And I still don't like my LinkedIn. I don't do it myself now. Somebody else does it because I wouldn't really do it. I scroll past it. But I'm proud of it in a weird way, even though because people talk about it. I know that it's brought me business. I know that it's me being out there. I know that I'm doing everything I can do to drive the business forward, even though it's uncomfortable. And the worst thing for me would be sitting there thinking, well, I failed, and it's because I didn't do those things. Didn't do it. So at least if I do all the things and don't get clients, I know I've done all the things and given it my best shot, is what I thought.
It's making me think of that young woman that stood in front of those train manufacturers.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I'm just going to stand here and do it, and I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
Because I need to do it.
Yeah. And I'm going to put it in the fuck it bucket. I'm a LinkedIn knob. That's in the fuck it bucket. I know it. But it's fine. I can't change it now. I probably could, but that's fine.
Delete all your posts from the last 2 years. Trying to raise your digital footprint.
Yeah. I don't want to do that. so that bit, the beginning was really, really hard. And I still have a battle with and the bit that's hard now is, it's weird, isn't it? You want it to be successful, and it's successful, and I love it. And I do love the success. I do drive to make the money, to be honest. I am driven by that. And have great clients and do make a difference to their business, obviously. But I'm now almost in the place, which is why me and you ended up with the coaching session around, I've made my decision because I've had some coaching. I was kind of at a stage where I was like, do I just enjoy it? I've got work-life balance. I love it. I'm enjoying my life. My life's in the best place it's been in a long, long time. I don't need more clients, maybe. And I kept struggling with that because that doesn't sit naturally with me to do that. And I suppose I still struggle with it a bit, but now I'm going for it. And I'm not going to ruin my work-life balance. So I'm going to build it to a point where perhaps I sell it in future. I don't know, whatever it becomes. I haven't got pressures or big plans on building it, but if people want to join as a client, I'm not going to turn them away because I'm busy. I'll work out how I'm going to do it. But I'm always going to make sure I remember that work-life balance because I'm not going back there. Really. But my inner drive can't stop me growing it. That's just not me either. So it's that dichotomy, isn't it?
It's combining those two parts and understanding that they don't have to be mutually exclusive.
Exactly.
You can have both.
Yeah. I'm going to.
You can absolutely have both.
Yeah.
As long as you're aware, mindful, and making those choices.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely. And I think the other thing that's helped in the difficult times, I've kind of built, we called the Wise Women, but it's my tribe. I call it like my business tribe of a few people, one of which I met. In fact, we laugh because she met me at a networking event. I think it was in the March. And she now says to me, I thought that woman's never going to make it. She said, the woman I met there compared to the woman I meet now, she's in there. She's a recruitment person. Another lady that I used to work with, Lindsay, she's in the Wise Women, another HR consultant. So we're a group of business women who sometimes get in our own heads. And we know we can reach out to each other. We'll be behind each other. And it's lovely to have that because it's quite hard as business owners. So it's lovely that we have managed to build that for each other. Because you need that when you're in business. You need someone where you can just be completely real, or if you're overthinking something or you don't know what to do next about this issue or whatever, you can just say to them. They're also quite wild. But anyway, that's an aside. That's a good thing.
Is mood still open? No, I don't.
No, but we went to a ball in November and it was a bit wild. So, yeah. We had our Christmas party at the air ambulance ball. So, yes, we all like a bit of fizz. Let's put it that way.
That is what life is about.
Absolutely, yeah.
But
they're brilliant group of women.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think that's a good place to end then. On the fizz, bringing us back to the party.
Why not? That would be me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That's been absolutely amazing.
Yeah, brilliant.
Thank you. If you've enjoyed listening to Rebecca's story, maybe there are a few reflections that you might be taking away. I suppose some of them that strike me, trying to think back in the moment, are if you're going to go for something, there doesn't need to be a perfect time. Bex actually did it in a moment where she was at her lowest, didn't have a plan, and wasn't ready to go for it, didn't have the savings. There doesn't have to be a perfect moment to go for something. There just has to be a choice to have a go and do it. And also that lesson that joy, moments of reflection, focusing on the good stuff can get you through those more difficult times and can stay with you when you're growing some badass crazy business that's bringing you joy as well. Yeah. So absolutely fascinating chat. Really fascinating. Do hit subscribe. Do leave us a review. Do sign up to the newsletter at reflectiverebels.co.uk.